Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the most amazing authors of a new book that we have coming out called The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business, 25 Practical Strategies from the Experts. And before I introduce these powerful women to you, let me just say a big thank you to our lead author, Camille Miller. Camille, thank you so much for getting this stellar group of humans together for this book. It's Brave Healer Productions' first business book, you guys. And when she came to me with this idea, I was like, oh yeah, because I'm all about holistic, soul aligned, that piece of things. You know, we niche to holistic health and wellness professionals, but adding the business piece in and getting to talk about the marriage of those two things, dude, I've been in heaven ever since I met you all. So I'm so glad you're here to talk about this. And we wouldn't be here without you, Camille. So thank you. So who do I have in my Zoom room with me today? Well, Amy Flores Young is an expert in travel planning and retreat business strategy, and she rallies coaches and consultants to build the business and lifestyle of their dreams. I also have Jackie Roby with me. She's the Chief Excellence Officer of Inspired Journey Consulting, where she supports the visionaries in wellness and healing travel with sales and marketing strategies, training, and acts as a brand ambassador. Christy Sullivan is a human design expert, speaker, and author of 4 best-selling Amazon books with 2 more on the way. And I'm going to add, including Stop Overworking and Start Overflowing, which was her collaborative book. Thank you for show and tell. With some pretty amazing authors herself, so super awesome. And Laura Waldman, aka the Abundance Activator, author of Money Manifestation Mastery, helps business owners and entrepreneurs create soulful, sustainable, and successful 6-figure businesses. Are you guys going to give me a trophy for reading those bios with all your alliteration like stuff in there? Yeah, all right. I think I need to get a trophy for that. So, all right, Amy, you're going to start this party off. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Woohoo! So yes, I'm Amy Flores Young, known as Flo-Yo here on the interwebs. And I am the author of chapter 8, From Panic to Profit, how to transform your business with retreats. And I have to do a shout out to Laura and Camille as well, because I had been approached to write chapters for quite a few other anthologies. And I'm like, I'm not a writer. I have no interest in that. And so many people said, you should write the book on this. You should write. And I've never wanted to write a book. Never even thought about it. And then Camille came up, like you were saying, Laura, Camille came up with this idea of talking about how your soul alignment doesn't have to be in a holistic business, but how you can bring it into any of your businesses. And it just struck such a chord with me that I knew I had to be a part of it. I think I signed up with her before she had even signed the contract with you guys to move forward. I was like that. When you do that, you let me know. So like I said, I'm just so thrilled to be a part of something I think is just so unique. And what I brought with my chapter is how I left a nonprofit career to start my own business in travel. They seem very unrelated, but in my mind, they're a perfect synergy together. So I kind of share that story and how I got there and why travel is such an important and transformational part of my life and how I want to share that with everyone else. So I don't want to give away all the details in the chapter, but that's the story I share in how going through that journey brought me to doing retreats and in-person events for coaches and leaders and other providers so they can increase their influence and impact with intention. And it's all about all those eyes. It's all about the intention of it. And by increasing your impact and influence, you're also going to increase your income. And that's not a bad thing. And we shouldn't be shying away from that. So that's a lot of what I think comes out in this book, is that you can value what you do and be of service and still be in abundance and bring in income and, and be the best that you can be. Doesn't mean giving it all away. And I see that again in my work with retreats and event planning. I see that over and over and over again of people just wanting to serve and give. And it's wonderful, but you need to start with the, high value for yourself as well.
I love that you opened us up with this particular piece of this, because if you're not doing that, then you can't serve from an overflow. It means you're going to end up serving from your reserves and you'll burn out fast. And so when you get to nourish yourself, my favorite affirmation of all time that I've been practicing for the last couple of years is, I love having enough money, energy, time, and resources to generously take care of myself and everyone I love. And that includes the money. It includes the income, right? I mean, we need all of it so that we can give. I love that. So by the way, did you and Christy call each other and decide that you're going to paint your walls the exact same color before we got on today? What is up with the blues?
I will admit, hers was done way before mine, and I did love it. But I bought this can of paint, and it was in a black can. It was mystery paint, and I picked it out. As like I said, it was meant to be.
That's awesome. So listen, thank you for being here, but also thank you for being my new retreat planner. And this is a new, I know, right? I haven't told too many people what's going on with me and Amy, but that was scary for me. It was scary to actually make a decision to do this. We've had so much turmoil through the last couple of years and with travel in general, and making a decision to say, I think it's time to get people back together. And Amy, could you help me? But I'm sure you're dealing with some fears around that. Talk more about that.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely has hit a turning point, luckily, in a positive way. And I'm sure Jackie sees that as well. We're in different spaces in travel, but we reach out to a lot of the same people. So people, it's kind of I want to say the time is now. People are ready to explore. They want deeper, more meaningful experiences and not just events. And they also want that sense of community beyond their family. So that people are willing to sign up and go on a adult trip where maybe they don't know everybody. But they'll bring a friend and then they're going to meet all of these other amazing people. And that's what I keep hearing over and over again from the people returning from the retreats is, I can't believe we've totally hit it off. I've got friends for life. I'm doing this. The experience was amazing. The culture was amazing, all the things, because people through the pandemic were, I think, really opened up and just became so self-aware. And it is a huge shift. I'm seeing it in all layers of, family level, business level, bigger corporations, so I kind of if you're interested in getting a group together, now's the time. And can I shout out to Laura about what she's pulling together, but so much of what I do is trying to get leaders like Laura who have made significant impact in ripples and changes to go bigger. And Laura started with big. She didn't say, I want to get 10 or 15 people together. We're going to see how it goes. She's like, it's an event. I want 100 people. Boom, let's do it. And that's a huge part of it is if you can impact and make a change with this ripple, and then Christy's going to do something with this ripple, and Jackie's going to do something with this ripple, and they all start overlapping. That's how everything changes. So make a big ripple. That's what I say when I do everything with intention. It's always about the outcome and the why and how is that going to be effective.
Yeah, we are here to make a big ripple. So Brave Healer Writers Retreat is in Sedona, Arizona, April 4th to 8th. I better put the link down below, huh? Maybe I will do that for this interview. And, we're doing a first hybrid event for healing experiences and writing experiences. Of course, all of these beautiful authors are here today because either they were writers already, didn't think they were, but became writers through this project. So many levels of writing, but we write to heal, and we write to heal ourselves which we know will help heal the world. And that's part of my ripple. So I thank all four of you for just stepping up to say yes to that journey, and then doing it so brilliantly with your beautiful stories and your master tools that you've offered in this book. Thank you so much for that. So Jackie, your turn to tell us about your amazing chapter.
Thank you so much, Laura. My chapter is 18, Seducing the Soulful Traveler. Now, I focus more on your sales and marketing strategy and how to really put that together in an authentic way. The healing world is incredibly important to me. It's something that I've journeyed through way before I knew it was part of the travel industry at all. And when I heard the words wellness travel and healing travel, I didn't fully understand what that meant until I experienced it. And my chapter tells that story. And at that moment, things started to light up inside of me. And throughout my career, I've spent the past 20 years in the travel industry. I have met thousands of salespeople, talked to, coached, trained thousands of salespeople. And what I realized is that none of them were really accurately selling to the wellness traveler, or even to the experience as a whole. And if I didn't know about it, how could anybody else, considering I was an industry insider? So hopefully that will give you a little hint of what's to come.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to share all of your stories with our readers. My background being in holistic healing, physical therapy, my entire 30-year career in holistic healing had to do with exploring and experiencing these sorts of different modalities. And because a lot of us licensed practitioners always had to go for continuing education to maintain our licenses, we naturally were traveling to interesting kinds of places wherever they would offer the con ed, or wherever they would offer the experiences. And so a lot of us are like, well, duh, come on. Like, are you kidding? Like, not only are you getting the healing experience, but then you're in a community, sometimes people and sometimes strangers. And then whatever is happening in terms of those leaders holding a healing space for the participants, it is a profound transformational experience. And it is every single time, as long as you're open to it. So what else do you want to say about that, Jackie?
150% behind that. So I have had healing experiences at immersive wellness resorts where they are designed and programmed to provide that for you and cater it to you. And then most recently, speaking of what you're building with Amy right now, I attended a retreat last week that, again, I went into not 100% knowing what I was going to get out of it, thinking it's going to be good for me no matter what. I left healing a wound that I have had for 40 years. So
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
really massive. I feel like a changed person. And it's just such a beautiful thing to be able to be a part of and support your own journey.
Oh my gosh, you guys, anything that we talk about today, we could sit here and talk for 3 hours on the one topic, right? This topic turns me on. Transformational experiences where you come back changed. And I've experienced that enough times to know that. And now I'm speaking to our listeners. Make sure you have an inner circle and or a community that when you re-enter your normal life, you have support. You have it the next day, the next week, and probably the next month. And that is, I'm being serious about this right now, because sometimes people come back and they do re-entry and they're like, oh my gosh, no, and they have a ton more stuff come up in the integration of what happened to them. When you come back a different person, this is really a big deal. I think it's kind of funny that both you and Amy are in this interview together. And this subject is how we are starting this off. It's awesome.
It's fateful.
It is. Of course it is. Divinely orchestrated. Yes. All right, Christy, let's hear from you next. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Well, I first just want to shout out to you, Laura, because I got bit by this book bug 2 years ago in one of your first collaborative projects. And being an author in a book led by a great person like Camille is just an awesome experience. And also being on the other side of it and being the lead author with you as the publisher was an amazing experience and will be again, because I am looking to do a second book. But I just want to say that, like Amy said, when Camille mentioned this topic for a book coming out, I also committed probably before she signed on with you too, because it's just an important topic. I love this idea of being a soul, SOUL professional, and building a soul aligned business. And that really happened to me magically and, in a great, great way in the last 2 years for me. So I'm happy I got to share the story through this book. I talk about my journey in transitioning from a longtime marketing career to what I do now, which is teaching and sharing about human design. I explain what the heck that is in this chapter because for some people, it's something they've never heard of. I call it astrology on steroids. And in my chapter, I just explain how understanding this design that you are, your energetic blueprint, and how you operate can help you with being, first of all, more authentic, uniquely yourself, knowing your unique gifts, and using that as part of your strategy of building a business. I say, with my marketing background, that it's just as important to have this inner work and knowledge of yourself and inner self-care as part of your business strategy, because it will help your business to thrive, especially when you're doing a process to energetically align yourself to who you really are. And that's what human design helps you to do. So that's what my chapter is about.
I think it's the only way it thrives. Like, I think we can get sort of a little bit more bold about the way we talk about this. And I'm going to be asking all of you another question about kind of a little bit more about this soul alignment. But Christy, one of the coolest things about meeting you was just having my chart read and getting a taste of what human design was. And I always chuckle a little bit when I think about you and what you taught me in terms of being a generator and having some sort of weird alien amount of willpower, evidently. But that resonated, right? There was some validation in the information, and I learned stuff about myself that actually changed the way that I operated my business after. So just giving Christy a little shout out about the human design modality in general and the theories and the methods, because don't we all love, I think we're all seekers. We all love a self-discovery tool that can, give us a golden nugget. Is there anything else you want to tell us about that?
Well, I think that when you understand, again, not just your unique gifts, but how you're uniquely encoded, we're all on a life path and journey. And yes, self-discovery for many of us, not only here on this call, here in the book, but the readers as well, I think that are attracted to these topics. We're seekers who are looking to find more about ourselves, how we can show up in the world, and human design is such a unique way to really understand yourself. And I also want to give one more shout out, and that is, again, to Camille and you, Laura, for your magic. I met so many great folks through this book collaboration. And part of my human design is as a connector to have a great network. And I got to meet so many other, not only practitioners and like-minded women or men if they've been part of past chapters, but I really had a connection with many. And I really appreciate that I got a chance to expand my network and be part of this project. So thank you.
Thanks very much for mentioning that. It's one of the missions is to help people grow their communities. I actually am going to ask all of you a little bit more about community in a few minutes. So that's awesome, Christy. Thank you. All right, Laura, the abundance activator, my favorite subject ever. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Well, my chapter is chapter 3, Money on Purpose, and it's how to create soul-aligned six-figure beyond business. And in this chapter, I actually share a very personal and painful experience that I went through of the sudden loss of my best friend who died, and then getting really ill with the post-viral effects of COVID. So long COVID, I was floored by for over a year. And how this very painful experience was the activator to my first six-figure year in business. And, you know, I think our impulse when we're going through pain, or like when we're going through some kind of shocking, unexpected event, there's all sorts of natural self-protection responses that kick in. And this chapter is really talking about how to use whatever life is throwing at you to actually activate the next level of your purpose. So pain being a portal to that next level, and really surrendering to what's showing up and allowing it to grow you, change you, transform you. And that very painful experience is actually the thing that unlocked this very deep wound that had still been holding me back, where I was still hiding. Right? Still hiding an aspect of myself. And so I share about that story a bit more deeply, what happened, and also take you through my steps of how to actually do that, how to actually manifest money in alignment with your soul's purpose.
Oh my goodness, there is no topic I think I love more than the awareness that happens when you realize the most painful moments of your life are the opportunities. And if you can wake up in your most painful moments and know and trust that, then everything changes in that moment. What else do you want to tell us about that? This is so big.
Yeah, it's so big. Well, she started working with me on the other level. So she told me she died before I knew she died. And then it was really just about her sort of helping me understand the deeper level of what was going on, and then how she was helping me wake up my purpose. And it's like obvious, but life is short. And this fear that had been holding me back was like, oh, we're all going to die. I'm going to die. Let's friggin' do it. You know, like it was really that. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to die. Oh yeah. Okay. Like, do I want to have any regrets? Like if I die in a year from now, like what do I want to have out there? I want my work out there. I want it to still continue on. And so that was really it. I just had a real suddenly, fuck it, really, you know? So it was a massive liberator, the most, you know, the deepest, most heartbreaking pain and grief that actually liberated a new level for me.
Yeah, you guys can feel that, can't you? I know you're giving me goosebumps. Yes, and we've all had the moments where I know past moments I've been paralyzed a little bit, right? But I don't get so stuck anymore. I'm looking at everything as an opportunity, first and foremost, just to relax and quiet my mind. Like, because we jump to making things mean something, and then we're reacting to the thing we made it mean, when really we just need to get quiet and give ourselves permission to feel everything.
Yeah.
You know? Yes, Laura, thank you for that. I can't wait for the world to read all of your chapters, ladies. And, you know, it's one thing that you do really well. You're master teachers. And so you work with people every day and you can coach them and teach them, but it's quite another thing to say yes to writing that down in a book in black and white and making that a practical, powerful experience for the reader. You are all badasses in that realm, according to me. You're warriors, right? You said yes to that. You took on the challenge of writing that down and giving it as a gift. And this book is an incredible gift, a toolkit with all of these different beautiful stories, but really your master tools are amazing. Super, super excited about this. Okay, so something you're all touching on, different aspects of awareness and this gift that you're giving through your stories and your tools. And here we are in this book talking about a soul aligned business. So, Camille is the founder of the Soul Professional Movement. I love that, right? But what the heck does this stuff even mean? So, Jackie, what does having a soul aligned business mean to you personally?
It's interesting because I feel like it continues to evolve. But when I started Inspired Journey Consulting, it was about a level of authenticity, getting people to their core, understanding the strength of emotional healing and what that can do for your life and to create a kinder, more inclusive world. I align my business with my values. So that is incredibly important. I am loud and proud about them. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, body acceptance, and prioritizing our mental wellness. So those are things that I make sure are not only shown through me, but also I'm choosing my clients very particularly to make sure that they align. And what I've really seen in the past couple of years, which is part of this, is I need to be aligned with my own joy in what I'm giving and how I'm supporting others. Because if it doesn't feel good for me, then it is not the right fit and it's not soul aligned. And I actually have to give a couple of shout outs. So when this book came about, 8 weeks after I had, less than 8 weeks after I had written down that I wanted to write a book in 2023. And it was Amy Flores Young who hit me up and said, I've got an idea for you. And I'm so grateful to her and to Camille for bringing me into this. And as I met and chatted with Christy, who then taught me that I'm a projector with an emotional authority, it again was a light bulb. And she knows this. In the past 3 weeks, I'm 2.5 books into human design, including finished hers quickly, 5 days. So that's also directing that soul of my business.
Yeah, it happens fast when you get aligned, doesn't it? Awesome, Jackie. Thank you. I'll go 100% in agreement that for me, it's about the feeling, palpable feeling of joy in my body. And so it's light and it's strong and it's nimble and it's energized. And when I am feeling good, literally, I know that I'm in alignment with really anything that I'm doing. But as long as the business activities and conversations and everything about it are helping me still feel that way, then I know that I am good to go. And I have actually a pretty big slap in the face when it's not, because it's physical for me. It's chest tightness. I mean, it's really, so discerning between the two has become easier and easier and easier since I started to pay more and more attention. And of course, I have the benefit of this being my practice for my whole career, is feeling and really understanding what that means. So it's pretty cool. Christy, what's your version of this? What does it mean to you to be soul aligned in your business?
Well, I love that we're already talking about that inner work, finding your joy, managing your energy. And to me, that journey that I've had of really getting to know myself, I think that is so key to this, because it's not really the outside world that dictates our journey. It's our inner world. And so when we can use various tools, because there is not just one way, one tool. Each of us have again, a unique blueprint, which means we have a unique formula. We have our own unique tools for discovering and getting to know ourselves. And it happens through things like life experiences that Laura mentioned, and inner, personal development that Jackie just talked about, and even retreats that Amy, referred to. That it's these experiences that are so key. We need to be doing more of that, or allowing ourselves to have more of those experiences. That helps us to be successful in not just our businesses, but in life, in relationships, in connections. So I think that, and we all kind of talk this language. So I hope others out there who are listening to this, who this might be new for you, just know just follow one foot in front of the other and keep going down this journey, because I think this is where you're really on a path to transform your life and to move in a direction that's going to help you find your joy even more.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Christy. Okay, Laura, how about you? Tell us more about, I know it's hard to go like third and fourth on this question because everyone is answering it so beautifully, right? But what's your version? We need you all to talk about this in your own language.
For me, it's a way of navigating through life in a successful way. So my soul will always get me to do something bigger and scarier than my kind of ego human self will allow. So for me, it's a way to kind of, in a way, trust the process and surrender to something bigger than me alone. So if it was just up to me, I would have absolutely squashed all my dreams and contracted against them, and they would have never come out. And so following my soul is a way to go, all right, like I surrender to the bigger picture of life, and it helps me to feel safe to navigate. And also because I talk about, wealth and abundance and this wealth frequency, it's a consciousness that is helping us, I think, come back into wholeness, come back into connection. And for me, it's a way of figuring out how to create in our businesses and our lives that allows life to thrive. So we're not suffocating life, we're actually, contributing to life. And for me, there's a very profound level of healing some of the old wounded ways, the old systems, structures that are really misaligned, and coming back into alignment. So it's multi-purposed.
Yeah, thank you. It's so much fun to listen to all of you, the way that you talk about this. And of course, it's part of the mission of the books too, is we need all the voices. We need every unique way of talking about what soul aligned means, because there are so many different ways to talk about it and to feel it in your own life. Yeah. All right, Amy, how about your version? How is it for you when you're soul aligned in your business?
Well, even just as recently as just a few years back, if you had come to me in my business development talking about soul alignment, I would have rolled my eyes at you and just been like, whatever, whatever, crazy people, because I came from such a conditioned way of doing business, which is not a bad thing. But I think that's, like I said, that's what I bring, is I'm still aligning. For sure. And I think we all are, right? Because it never truly ends. But for me, giving into, if you will, that soul alignment was letting go, kind of like what Laura was saying, letting go of the shoulds and the traumas and the pains and all of those expectations. And I put this reminder, I see it all day long, and I want everybody else to see it. So for me, it was finding a way. So what, like you said, Laura, what everyone had said previously, of finding a way to do what I love in a way that is easier, with like that whole ease and flow and whatever that means to you, versus that work-life balance mindset. I think that was the shift for me when I stepped into soul alignment. And what that meant was, it's not work life, it's all the same. My work is part of my life. My family is part of my work. That talks a lot in my chapter about that. My family is part of my work. It's all the same. And we shouldn't have this siloed life. And so again, in this type of anthology of people talking about this type of thing, it's just like we're really on a mission to change the way business is done and the way business is thought about from the concept to the delivery. That's what it means to me.
I love this part of this conversation, because for me, another part of Soul Aligned is that there is no separation from my work and my other parts of my life. It's all one. I'm in joy no matter what I'm doing. So I don't have to, you said silo. It's interesting, giving me an interesting visual there. It's all like I can move from one place, well, COVID allows me to move from my office to my kitchen in about 2 minutes, like we're all dealing with that too. Like we're right here in our homes and working a lot from our home. But how cool is that you can have that feeling no matter what? Okay, so one of the other things that happened to me, I think you all will resonate, is that when the soul alignment began to happen, one magical effect was the community that appeared almost magically. And what you're attracting, the community of badasses, of men and women walking their walk of awareness and healing and joy and all the things you all have been talking about started to show up. And that gives me goosebumps. To me, community has been the difference between success and failure for my business. And I had to be soul aligned first for that to happen. You don't just go out and grab a community. You attract those people into your inner circle and your world by who you are and who you're being, and the vibration you intentionally put out every single day, right? If that is your practice. And I know it's a part of all of yours. So Christy, you're going to head this one up first for us. What has community meant for you?
Well, I love what you just said, Laura, because that was really my experience. I do mention it actually in my book chapter, that around the time that I was making a transition in my career, stepped onto the path that I knew I was meant to take with wellness, personal development, spirituality, the people just started to show up. The like-minded women that I now have a great network with. That was so important because it gave me so many opportunities that I didn't plan for. Like a opportunity to speak about human design to a women's group, which started, I feel like my human design readings with others and my speaking career that I'm doing now. And the community that you had, that I stepped into, and getting to know not only other authors and practitioners, but I've used people from the Brave Healer group for my own healing and modalities, learning about different modalities. And so it showed up, like I was open to that. And that's the key. I think when you're open to it and you are working on your own vibration and energy, you will attract the right communities that are right for you at the right time. And so I trusted that. And I think it's beautiful. Again, in my chapter, I talk a little bit about that and how I'm so grateful that, I have these different networks to support me. Because like you said, also in the beginning, you need that support. You need not only accountability, but more of like just somebody to cheerlead you on. So that's what community has meant for me.
Awesome, Christy. Thank you. How about you, Lara? What has the community meant to you?
It's meant everything. I remember a time where I felt incredibly alone and weird and different, and I wasn't really in hiding. And I remember putting on my vision board, like soul sisters, and what I realized is that I needed a certain level of people at my back who got me and loved me and supported me and celebrated me. Not just about the eye, but to have the courage, to have this like foundations. And psychically, what I see is this, rather that we're moving away from the I, right, the me and business, to this network. I kept seeing this sort of network, this web of support. It was very much now this, where we're going now is together we thrive, together we rise. This isn't about the one individual anymore. So seeing this, psychically for a while before it started to land. And then when it landed in, it was like, oh my God, we need each other. We absolutely need each other to thrive. On lots of levels, obviously, networking opportunities, new clients, like business growth came from that as well. But for me as the individual, it was like the sense of support, love, sense of family that gave me the courage and the foundations to keep going.
When a community feels like a second family, I think we made it, right? Like, and you're making friendships, close friendships inside of that community. It's what you're making me think of, Laura. It's awesome. Has such a good feel to it. Okay, Amy, what would you add to this? How has community been for you? What's it meant to you?
I just think Laura's metaphor or visualization was so important. Usually, like I said, kind of not even that far along ago, I always thought of, I have to start my own business. I'm going to have to do X, Y, Z. And like I was saying earlier, there's the shift. There's a huge shift. And I see, and it's not that I'm doing this and Jackie's doing this and Christy's, everyone's doing this. It's together. We're all coming up. We're all creating this. That our own pieces of it are a puzzle all coming together. So yeah, and a huge part of what I write about in my chapter, I think one of my first tips is don't do it alone. I don't care how competent you are and how good I am at everything. You can't go it alone. And that was a hard lesson for me as a generator and a doer and all of those things. That was a hard lesson for me to learn coming out of that kind of corporate environment where it's do, and rise and succeed and all of those kind of levels of accomplishment. Being able to see accomplishment as a group item was huge. And like I said, I have a community and a network now. Even some of them I still have not met in person, but I reach out to. They are my ride or die. Just in these last few years, the way that community has come together, like I said, it has created my soul alignment in this, it has shifted. Being in a travel business, of course, everything shifted with COVID, but in a whole other way. It wasn't being reactive to COVID. It was proactive in creating something very needed, like with the wellness travel and the healing, very needed. But again, that looks completely different than I ever thought my business would look. And that's because of the community and listening in to a group.
That lesson is also hard to learn, the one that you were talking about, in terms of the fact that most of us were taught that success meant you did it alone. Success meant that you were successful in that business because you did everything right and perfect, and it didn't have anything to do with anyone else, right? Like, for those of us who learned that was the definition, it's been rough, but then magical when you realize what the community really means in terms of that, right? Oh my gosh, game changer. All right, Jackie, how about you on this one? What's the community meant to you?
Well, building on what Amy said, that lesson of the biggest, bravest, strongest thing you can do is ask for help. And for me, I learned that lesson going through my first depression about 14 years ago. And now when I started a business, it was a really interesting manifestation. My good friend and mentor, who I actually write about in my chapter, Ann Bigging, she's the co-founder of Healing Hotels of the World. I remember she said to me, Jackie, you're so much more than sales. And I looked at her very confused, and I didn't understand what that meant. And then as I continued to build and go through different communities and learn and get support, and tap into me, I had a better understanding. And now in a space being more aligned with soul professionals and healers and wisdom givers, I feel seen and understood, and it puts me in a space of more self-trust.
I love it. Thank you all for answering that so brilliantly and just a little differently each. I know it's hard to go after, but we, oh my goodness, we're bringing together so many different ideas for people. You've all been talking about an awareness practice. So we're going to close out today with one last question. I'm going to challenge all of you to answer it quickly. We're going to do the speed dating version of this one. Okay. So you get one sentence and good luck with that. Christy, I'm going to start with you. I'm sorry. I'm going to reverse my order. Laura, I'm going to start with you for this one. So here comes this entrepreneur, business owner, and they're starting their business. And we all know in our hearts that being soul aligned is going to be one of the biggest answers to success ever, right? And they may be wherever they are on their journey listening today. What would be one thing you could share with them as an easy entry point to what we're talking about? One simple step, awareness practice, something that you want them to remember.
Very, very simple, but make space every day just to be, just to breathe. So that could be like meditation, but literally like a minute just to stop and create space to regulate your nervous system, connect in, and just come back home to yourself before you start doing anything.
Yeah, that's a good one. Foundational, super awesome. Thank you. Amy, how about you? What would you offer?
For people like me who are a bit more pragmatic, black and white, I look at my calendar every day and look at the to-dos and the, scheduling all that aside. And if there's something I truly don't find joy in doing, I ask myself, does this really need to be done, or am I shooting on myself? And if it truly needs to be done, who can I pay to do it?
Fantastic. We'll tell you all out there, start doing your own businesses. If you can hop on the wagon of what Amy just said much faster, then do it. Yes, yes, yes. Love that one. Jackie, what's your answer to this? What would you offer?
Well, first and foremost, I would say invest in the ultimate guide to creating your soul aligned business. And then pay attention to your energy and your flow. I like to schedule my week based on where I'm sitting. If I'm feeling creative, I'm going to write at this time. I know that in the afternoon, if I look at an Excel document, nothing will happen. At 3 o'clock, my eyes are crossing. So pay attention to what you need and where your brilliance sits.
Yeah, really good. Thank you, Jackie. All right, Christy, you are going to close out this party today. What's your version of this?
Well, y'all took what I was going to say. I was going to say, slow down, find your joy. And I was going to say, read our book. So that's going to be where I end. Read our book.
We'll do all of those together. Yeah, trust yourself, everyone. And there's inner work that will give you that healing moment. And then there's work in the community that will give you another healing moment, being witnessed. And like we've already talked about, doing it together and grabbing hands. And what's so cool today is that you're looking at 4 of those beautiful hands that will hold you and support you, right? So authors, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here to share it with everyone today. Thank you. To our viewers, maybe something that one of these powerful women said today really resonated. Maybe you got a little goosebumps. Maybe you're ready to explore, right? So what I want you to do is just drop down into those show notes, because I have you hooked up with everybody's website. And these women are up to some awesomeness in the world. Go explore and see what that is. They're very generously there to answer questions, to chat with you about what they talked about today, to help you on the next step of your journey. So I hope you will do that. And of course, you're invited to our live stream book launch party on July 6th, noon Eastern. We're going to be on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page with all of the ultimate guide to creating your soul aligned business authors. And we're going to have a lot of fun that day. Of course, if you're listening to this interview after that date, well, that means you need to get on over to Amazon, because the book is ready for you to start your journey with your soul aligned business. Lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone. Bye, ladies.